Hey guys, welcome back. Doing another unpopular opinions in Pokemon video. Again, special thanks to Sacari, youtube.com/Sacari if you want to go check him out, for creating this thread, and for everyone on efour who participated and is providing us with some juicy content here. Alright, let's get into the first one of the video. We have Actinnissek. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm not. So some of these might be a little bit troll. Paying more than $1 for some paper, tinfoil, and ink is ridiculous. I guess that would be an unpopular opinion within the Pokemon community. Maybe not from anyone outside of it. Or anyone that doesn't understand collectibles or sports cards or Pokemon cards or anything of that nature. Alright, next here says 5-band graphics full art Pokemon look really good most of the time. I kind of agree. I don't think they're the absolute end all be all best thing ever. But I also kind of like the consistency in the artwork for the rarities that they do work on. As I mentioned before, it was funny because everyone would bash 5-band, but then the Amazing Rares came out with some 5-band artwork with just some rainbow garbage around it, and everyone kind of changed their mind, or maybe they didn't realize it was 5-band. And then tacked on here at the end, almost forgot hollow swirls are meh. Yeah, I kind of agree. Unless they're in like a really cool spot, then it's neat to look at, but it's not something that I would ever go out of my way to seek out. Next here we have Guangzhou, who says big spending members of this forum don't like genuinely rare cards such as Prototype Blastoise, as their money can't just buy one. I mean, there's lots of people on there who could have bought the Protostoise or any of the several copies of Protostoise that were for sale. I think largely they don't believe in the card like I don't believe in the card, because its origin story is very sketchy, and who knows how many copies are there. Anything that was snuck out and doesn't have an official release is a little bit sketchy. And I think at this point back in 2019 it was up for sale for like $40,000 or $50,000 US. So to put that kind of money into something that Shell might have 500 of in his basement is a huge risk that people typically aren't going to take. And then where the story is coming from somebody with as much vested interest as Shell, who owned a copy and was selling through someone else to pretend that he wasn't, or didn't have anything to do with the price tag on these, is also just another layer of stay away from it. Alright, next up. Nubtiz says, why the public are letting the Pokemon Company to get away without printing a first edition print that's actually limited for each set released. So this kind of worked back in the day, and even then I would kind of say that it didn't. Mostly because there's a lot of areas that didn't get first edition. So you're just going to, at that point they just flooded the West Coast or limited areas with this first edition print when the product first came out. The set size was also significantly smaller, where you're just over 100 cards on, or even less than that on some of the early sets. So putting a first edition, if somebody really wanted a complete first edition and unlimited, or I guess the accidental or just haphazard shadowless and fourth print as well, like not that many cards. I mean, the price tag on them now makes them more difficult than anything to collect, but yeah, I don't know. With something like the sets now where you can't even fit a set in a 360 card binder, to have a first edition of that, that's just going to get bought up. There's just no point, especially with all those like higher rarities. Now we're seeing like secret rares and hyper rares and alternate arts and stuff like that, that to have those in multiple editions would just be completely overkill. So I don't know. I don't. It's not a good idea. All right. I'm sure they've weighed the pros and cons to that as well, where they'd probably sell out of the first edition pretty quickly, and then no one would really want the unlimited. So I'm sure they've had meetings about it and decided it was not a good idea, especially with larger stamps. I think that's the biggest reason why you just couldn't have first edition stamps, at least not that made any sense. All right, we have Azul, who is saying, not sure if I've said it before, but Charizard is incredibly overrated. I get why people are fans of the Pokemon and why it shares icon status alongside Pikachu, but I'm just tired of seeing Charizard pop up everywhere. Wish we get a new Pokemon icon already. Yeah, it would even be nice to see the other starters get a little bit more love. I'm not really a really big fan of any of the starters, if I'm being honest. I'd rather some of the other Pokemon throughout the game. I don't know, maybe that's just me trying to be a Pokemon hipster. But yeah, I don't know. Charizard is overrated, but he's turned into the ultimate chase. And then I know there's some other comments on there that I didn't include about how maybe Gyarados should be the new Charizard that Azul was a fan of. Here we go. Shizzle Me Timbers says, in my opinion, the 1997 first tournament trophy cards should be the most valuable cards in the hobby over the Illustrator. Yeah, probably. I mean, there's kind of a different history between either one. The first tournament is really cool, but also the Illustrator is up there with cool factor as well. I would say that the Illustrator has better artwork, but maybe that coincides with the fact that it's an Illustrator. Next up, we have Howie, who says, misprint and miscut cards doesn't look good or feel good. I don't understand why people collect them other than the sake of showing it's rare. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool kind of side thing to come across, something that's miscut or misprinted. Especially if it's severely messed up. Again, it's not really something that I collect or would chase after, but I would certainly be excited to see something that was really, really messed up, that was only able to be messed up from the factory. If it's just something where they're damaged out of the pack, then obviously there's no value in that to anyone, or no additional value, I should say. All right, Shizzle back and says PSA 9 over BGS 9.5. Yeah, I would probably have to agree. I don't collect graded cards, but I don't know. I feel like maybe the 9 is more appealing. More PSA 9 collectors than there are BGS collectors. But if it's a Charizard or something like that, maybe people wanted in that BGS 9.5 to claim that it's slightly better. Or if you're Logan Paul, you can just take your 9.5 in and get it upgraded to a 10, even though it failed multiple times before that. Gen 5 is trash. The cards are trash, the games are trash, the Pokemon card designs are trash, and the anime was trash. I'm going to heavily disagree. Cross, I don't know. Why do you hate Gen 5 so much? Did Gen 5 hurt you? Alright, Cini is saying a Jungle Pikachu over base set Pikachu. I'd kind of have to agree. The only thing I really like about base set Pikachu is the slip up with the cheeks, where they were supposed to be yellow and then they altered them to red, but then brought them back to yellow because when Pikachu was using his electric abilities, his cheeks turn yellow. So that's I think that's a cool story behind base set Pikachu that Jungle Pikachu doesn't get. Also, Jungle Pikachu triggers me when anyone calls a Jungle Pikachu red cheeks because they're all red cheeks. Alright, Moss Deep says best Pikachu is American Pikachu. I guess if I was American, maybe I would agree with this. I'm not, so I don't know. I think maybe Pikachu Gold Star is my favorite Pikachu off the top of my head if I had to pick one. Alright, Pokemon Argentina TCG says, I know this opinion might sound unpopular, that's the point of the thread, but if you like, no rarity Japanese base set is overvalued, and some people tried to overhype it big time with low success. I'm assuming that we're talking about Aitzen with the Chum-Li cameo. But yeah, I don't know. No rarity is cool. I think it's a neat version, or I guess print run that is part of history. So I don't know. I don't and can't bring myself to collect all the Japanese cards where I'm trying to collect all the English ones. So it's out of my what I'm planning on obtaining. So I don't have a huge feeling for or against it. I just think it's neat to have those different runs with differences across the board. Alright, Jokum says, LP promos, Burn Tower, Indigo Plateau, Copycat, etc. are beyond speculative. The cards exist as less than $1 non-holo trainers in English. You're literally paying several hundreds for a holo treatment. Yeah. I'd personally rather have the English ones, but it's cool. If I was collecting Japanese, I can totally see the appeal in these in holo foil form. I love when they have the shattered ice or the random holo foil variants, including the Canadian team up Zard and what is it, Shining Legends, Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Dragonite. I think those are really neat to have those different variants, and especially when I just come across them and can put them at the back of the corresponding set in the variants section. Alright, Chevy Cat says, flipping is for people who don't know how to properly invest. I mean, I guess. You could do a mixture of both. Flipper, for anyone wondering, is now turned into scalper, is now the new taboo word for anyone that's buying things and selling it shortly after. Before, people were just called flippers. I don't understand why anyone would exclusively flip in Pokemon. There's certainly better ways to get some money. We have an Ayla dog here. Maybe she wants to jump up. Maybe not. So yeah, I don't know. There's nothing inherently wrong with flipping. I mean, if you're buying to flip Pokemon cards and nothing else and not collecting or anything like that, I think you're wasting your time. But even if you're buying collections or something like that and you're selling off some of the cards, that kind of borders into flipping. And it's certainly something that I did when I was first putting my sets together. We got Ayla dog joining us for the rest. She's not feeling good. Alright. Here we go. An unpopular opinion from Chris B. Says, collecting things because they retain value doesn't make someone a fake collector. It's a big reason why people collect art, watches, cars, sports memorabilia, and a plethora of other items. You can enjoy something and also plan on passing it on to kin or selling it yourself down the road without being a fake collector. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I feel like it's still collecting, and the intention to sell long term, I guess, is doesn't prevent you from being a collector. I don't think it's as pure as intentions as somebody that has certain stuff, and I'm sure everyone that's, or at least almost everyone that's going to resell any of their collection or their Pokemon stuff, at least that I've seen, there's certain items that they would just never sell, whether those be gifts or just something with sentimental value, whether it be something that they pulled themselves or. All right, next, Doc says, or DOK, mine is base 2 is a nicer set than base unlimited. I'm gonna disagree. I do think base 2 is necessary and maybe a good thing that they didn't just keep reprinting the original sets. Although base set 2 didn't add a whole lot of value in terms of new cards or anything of that sort. Just basically good for players at the time to be able to get the cards that they needed for competitive play. We will stick Ayla Dog up here a little bit higher. Alright, next up we have PFM, who says investing in Pokemon cards is super cringy. I say that he was probably memeing on this one, although I would think that that is an unpopular opinion, at least in terms of the Pokemon community. Outside of that, maybe not so much. Put this dog back down. She's getting squirmy. Next up, we have Peacock, who says Gen 5 was the peak of the video game series. Alright, so here we have the complete opposite take that Cross gave us not too long ago. I would disagree that it was the peak. It was good, certainly. But I would not say that it is the peak of the video game series. I did play the games. I don't think I played every game, at least especially not the remakes. But yeah, I would have to disagree with that. What do we have here? Admiral77 says, I don't like when sellers get upset when a buyer tries to negotiate a price. They think their time is being wasted, or they get offended by an offer, yet they have no problem listing at unreasonably high prices. It's ironic and hypocritical. So a lot of, especially when you're dealing with eBay and stuff where it's not necessarily large sellers or actual people that sell for a living, you run into people who don't want to be bothered with customer service. But if you're selling stuff, whether it's on local classifieds, on eBay or whatever, that's what it is. Customer service comes along with it. So guess what? You're going to have customers that are a pain in the butt, and you're going to have to deal with that in a respectable manner. Alright, Benoit 489 says, Arita peaked somewhere between the E-Series and the DP Series. Early efforts weren't that interesting, and recent stuff has been passable and only hyped up because we take anything over 5-ban at this point. Gonna have to disagree. I can't think of a lot of examples off the top of my head, but there's old and new Arita artwork that's good. I think he kind of branched off a little bit into different styles, so maybe Benoit doesn't like the fact that it's not original Arita or this certain E-Series and Diamond and Pearl Arita that is his or his favorite. So, disagree. Swarm says, Venusaur over Blastoise over Charizard. I agree with this, but I know I am in the minority. Fazul says, I missed the crazy Pokesin posts. Milhouse says, Die Hard 3 is better than Die Hard 1. Also Pokemon. So I wasn't sure if he was saying that the Die Hards are better than Pokemon. If so, disagree times a million. Alright, Barry here has a lengthy one, so we'll try and speed through it. Says, I think the word flipping and flipper is thrown out with such a broad definition and also with too much negative connotation, when in reality flipping could just be a smart move or sniping a card that's undervalued. Got to agree with that. It wouldn't be looked down upon to buy a house that is under market value and flip and make a return or on investment, or to buy a stock when it's low. Likely, if you see a card that you believe is below market value, I see no problem buying it to resell it. Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. Anyone who buys up collections does this, and it's all part of any market, really. Knowing that we'll not keep every card in the collection, but we'll use a portion of it, big or small, to try and break even or make a profit. What I can't stand are flippers, in the sense people buying up every Hidden Fates box thinking that they can try and resell it for double the price. I mean, we've seen a lot of that recently, and I try to tell people to just not be concerned with it, because eventually they're going to print more. It will become available, and if you don't want to pay above market price, then don't. The market will fix itself eventually. We've already seen that recently with Battle Styles. On the second wave of that is still very available, and then Chilling Reign, even from release, at least where I'm from, is very available as well, even without a second wave. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of that other stuff. We've seen even some more evolutions come out in the States, and some Hidden Fates has been stocked every so often here in Canada. So I mean, just be patient. Don't buy modern product above like MSRP unless you really want to open it, or if you're buying it to sit on it. I would suggest waiting unless it's something that you absolutely need and you don't mind if the price comes back down. That I'm strongly against because more than anything, I think it's just an incredibly stupid financial move and very naive when it comes to understanding how Pokemon Nintendo will print and reprint everything to meet the market's needs. Yeah, but I mean, it's really up to the person. If they want to buy a ton of product and sit on it, and it's just going to be reprinted, then all right, let's struggle through the rest of this here. So maybe we are all on the same page, but maybe I just have a problem with how people define the word flipper, because if the term is too loose, then I think that all of us become hypocrites. Yeah, I don't know. Flip whatever you want to flip. Don't worry about other people. The people that are concerned about flippers and everything else beyond just like teasing that they're not a true collector. I know there's a little bit of that going on the forum and Discord. Just ignore them. Dilbert. Most importantly, with the Pokemon hobby as well, don't let anyone convince you to do or not do anything. It's important to do a lot of research and make your best decisions, but it's definitely not always the best idea to just follow what everyone else is doing. Dilbert says modern English regular hollows are not considered hits anymore, so about 30 out of 36 packs from a regular booster box are garbage. A huge waste of money, at least from a collector's view. I'm going to disagree with this because long term the hollows do pretty good. Not as well as the bigger hits in a box, but that's how it always worked. Next, Ganosha says Eevee is an unneeded secondary mascot that is being pushed down everybody's throat so Pokemon could sell more merch. Also, evolutions are as lazy design tools as regional variations like Alolan Meowth and Galarian Ponyta. Okay, so I don't know. I think Eevee was just popular in general, so they just kept going with it. I would say that the evolutions in Eevee itself are not a lazy design. And it's nice when different Pokemon have these different gimmicks. Eevee's gimmick being it can evolve into any of these other evolutions. So, all right. Mike J of the Coast says, all right, so he's talking about books. We don't need to know about that. He doesn't think Scream promos are cool, like at all. And then if they want to incorporate some paintings into Pokemon TCG art, they should consider some works by Bosch. Anyone ever seen this dude's art? His stuff is gnarly. Yeah, so like more collaborations would be cool, but I have to disagree with the fact that I don't have the Scream promos, but I do think they're very cool, and the way that they release some of them through the an art exhibit was extra cool. So it's got a cool release story behind it, and the artworks are cool. So I don't know, cool cards out of 10. All right, we have Barry is back with another unpopular thought. I'd rather own raw cards than graded cards. The slabs have their benefits when it comes to protection and establishing authenticity and an objective grade price, but for me, nothing beats holding a card raw and putting it into a binder set. So I would agree with this, other than the fact that they don't really protect the card. They don't protect it from moisture. They don't protect it from UV. Authenticity, yes, but I mean, if you're collecting and you've held enough Pokemon cards, you can almost always tell when there's something off or when you have a fake in your hand. And even then, if somehow it became so well done or such a good fake, then you can get a $2 jeweler's loop and you can be even more certain that you have an authentic card. There's like the odd case where PSA graded something that was counterfeit. So, I mean, maybe on like the really higher end stuff, if you really wanted peace of mind with that. The objective grade and price, rather than just someone listing it as near mint with some crappy pictures, is probably the best selling feature, I think, of the graded cards, other than the fact that everyone just wants slabs 69 420. They don't even usually, when someone's like, oh look, I got a graded card, it's weird because they sometimes don't even mention the card itself. They're just talking about how they got a graded card or that they're looking for graded cards exclusively. So I don't know. I don't get the appeal. I guess it's just everyone wants to be the cool graded card people. Megazone says, back on topic to Pokemon, Haunter over Gengar. I would probably disagree. I think I like Gengar a little bit more. But, I don't know. I see the appeal. I see why people might like Haunter better. And then also Haunter had a little bit more of a feature in the anime, so. And then Gengar's card, like Haunter was a holo, and Gengar didn't come till later on. Alright. Sealed Grace says, there is nothing wrong with selling stated weight packs. Many look down on people who do it, which is wrong. It seems to be strictly against it from a distance when it has no impact on you. I wonder what they would do if they would obtain mint, potentially unweighed first edition base set packs. Also, being against pack weighing and buying light heavy packs for your collection / opening is terrible. If being against the practice makes you feel better about yourself, understand, but don't be a hypocrite. At this point in time, you have to just assume that everything is weighed that's weighable. So all that like base set and old like WotC stuff that was weighable, and basically all the way up until was it Breakpoint or Breakthrough, where they started putting the green and white codes in the packs in order to prevent weighing, or at least make it so unreliable that it's not even worth doing. Most of that newer stuff is so cheap anyway that you wouldn't really be weighing it. I think there was something with Hidden Fates where, because the reverse slot is where the shiny variants are, there might be some shenanigans that can go on there. But again, just assume everything is weighed if it's loose, and especially if it's coming from like a non-reputable source, or not like a box that was just opened, anything along those lines. So if it's older and not coming straight from a box, and it's a significant amount of money, I would say that assume light, unless they're going to tell you whether it's light or heavy. Alright, Sherlocker says, okay, I have one I don't think has been done yet. The Pokemon community isn't the best community. It's actually pretty terrible. We only feel strongly about it because it is familiar, convenient, and meets us where we are at. So there are definitely worse, probably better communities out there. I would argue that the size of the community is heavily going to dictate how much shitty stuff and bad stuff and arguments and any kind of fighting or whatever goes on that would consider it a bad community. So the bigger it gets, the more of that nonsense that you see. And even with the boom in Pokemon, you see a lot more shady activities going on than there were previous. Alright, Pokemon Holofoil version says, I think Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were terrible, and I also think Crystal Charizard doesn't look particularly good. So this was one in the, I think it was in the last video. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were terrible. I kind of doubt that. I didn't play Omega and Alpha, but I did play the originals. I have a hard time believing that the remakes were terrible, but okay. I've never heard that from anyone. I don't think so. That's a first. I would say that would be an unpopular opinion. And Crystal Charizard, I feel like people either love or hate Crystal Charizard from the looks of things. I think it's fine. It's not my favorite card, or probably not even my favorite Charizard. But I wouldn't say it's doesn't look good. All right, another one from Holofoil here, who says, "Oh wait, I just thought of another one that definitely won't annoy anyone. I don't like Pikachu and his ego are massively inflated." So, I don't know. I don't particularly like Pikachu either, but there's no denying he is the mascot, and you can't really do anything about it. I don't know. I don't know about his ego. Um, I would say that he doesn't necessarily have an ego, even in the anime. Maybe this is just worded wrong and more referring to the fact that he's overhyped or pushed too hard by the Pokemon Company. But I mean, it is what it's gonna be when that's the moneymaker. Talking about Pikachu, here he is right here, zapping away on Pokemon Yellow. Team Rocket OP, final one here, says, "Why Japanese cards are so low in price when they are the original cards? I understand that it doesn't bring nostalgia like its English counterpart. Most people in the Pokemon community collect because of the artwork, and I believe Japanese cards are better quality. The good thing is you can get all the same cards for half the price. I don't care for resale value, and that's not why I collect." Yeah, I understand why people might want to, if they're collecting on a budget, to get the Japanese cards. Even then, you don't have the same access to it. It takes a certain degree of knowledge, I guess you would say, to be able to buy all these Japanese cards, or to even get Pokemon product from Japan if they're opening new product. I'd much rather, even if it's 2 times the price, and it's going to retain that value, I would much rather have the English counterpart that I can read. But to each their own. Some people like to have both. Some people like one or the other. But I think just overall, with so many people in the world that speak English, it being the language of money, it's kind of where people are going to focus in. So, unless it's Japanese exclusive, typically it's going to get left in the shadows by the English counterparts. Or I guess in terms of if there's some crazy way that it was released that makes it rare and or hard to obtain. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to another one of these. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you disagree or agree with any of the statements in the video. If you'd like to have one featured of your own, leave that in the comments. And I will see you next time.